Hello, everyone.
Hello,
right
friends.
Before we started this episode, Sarah got a humongous splinter out of her finger, and we were just saying, talk about satisfying.
Oh, yeah, it was like it's been in there for a minute, and then I was one of those, I felt it a while back, and then I knew I couldn't get after it or didn't have the right tools, so I said to myself, I'll just let it work itself out. You know how you do that? Yeah, well,
That's like a myth, I swear.
I revisited, and boop, out the splinter came.
Okay, good job. Congratulations. Yeah. Episode 913. This is a great foreboding about
sounds
cooking.
Lucky already.
It really does. Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing real well.
It's nice.
Yeah.
You're always doing real well, though.
I know. I've been. You know why? Because I've been spending a lot of time in nature, and I've been doing so much gardening, and they say that is good for your mental health.
Rumor has it. The old
word on the street
dirt.
is that's really good for the old.
Even just the being out in the sunshine.
Yeah. Oh, except I have to. I now have the
aging?
No, I now have the suntan line. I thought wouldn't it be fun
in a string bikini?
Well, I thought it would be fun to go snowboarding with a bikini top on, and so I did. And now I got so sunburned that now I have that tan line that I will now spend the rest of the season trying to undo, and it's so bad that it's there for all season now.
Man,
that
mistake.
Yep. So whatevs.
Small price to pay for mental health, though.
Right, exactly. And always wear your sunscreen.
SPF for life, baby.
Yeah. I
did tell my dermatologist when she was doing my full body scan.
Yes.
You know this feeling. Whenever somebody says, "What do you do for a living?" It's always like, "Oh, fuck." At least you can say therapist.
Yeah, but that opens up a whole other Pandora's box.
Separate set of problems.
Well, I don't want to say that either to the wrong person. They go, "Oh, let me tell you about this. Oh, thank goodness. I have to talk to you about this." In sometimes the most awkward of settings.
Okay, right. I didn't think of that. I was just thinking about myself.
Well, you keep doing that for story purposes.
mean, because whenever I have to be like, oh, God, I have to tell them I have a podcast, it's so embarrassing, right?
Right.
And then, oh, what's it called? And then you got to tell them. And then what's it about? And then you got to, make something up because, let's face it, I don't know what it's fucking about.
Different thing every week. I don't know. Sometimes frogs. Sometimes...
Poop.
Yeah.
Right. And then they're like, oh my God, I'll have to listen. And I'll just think, should I warn them? Should I be like, I'm so sorry? And so, it's a whole deal. But anyway, I told this dermatologist, brain candy. So I got to go back soon. So I'm going to see if she brings it up.
What, shout out to the dermatologist.
Shout out to Madeline.
Oh, Madeline.
Yep. She is looking at all my parts.
I have a question. This is you're reminding me of something that I've been meaning to ask you.
Yeah.
When I go to the doctor now, go get medical service.
Yeah.
I rarely see a MD. I now see like a physician's assistant.
That's what Madeline is
nurse.
too.
Okay.
Yeah.
What the fuck do I call them?
Oh, right.
Because all by their first name seems a little rude for the work that they've put in and the knowledge base that they have and the level of professionalism that I want to maintain in this environment, like the kind of patient-doctor thing,
Yeah, there's not really a nice...
What the hell do I call them?
Yes, because you could, with a nurse, you could say nurse whatever, but whatever. But physician's assistant, there isn't even that.
Right.
But either way, it doesn't sound cute.
And PA does it. My PA, I don't know
like
what
garbage.
So what would they like? If you're a
Yeah, we
PA,
should ask
if you're a
them.
physician's assistant, will
What do you wanna be
will you
called?
please tell us? Will you slide into our DMs?
I prefer physician's assistant over physician.
Me too. I think that I've always liked them better.
They seem smarter.
Yep.
They're
more
definitely
connected,
less miserable.
way better bedside manner. Like the doctors seem like strictly
had it.
business. Yeah, they've had it. There is the attitude of they've had it.
Yeah.
And every physician's assistant's like, sit down. Let me ask you some
Yeah, let's
follow-up
talk about it."
questions. Like,
right. I'm like, yeah,
okay,
Madeline,
yeah.
let's do it.
yes. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe if we were doctors, we'd understand.
Yeah.
But I don't. They seem fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Okay, listen to this story.
Okay.
I went to see my boyfriend, Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees.
Yes.
With Matt Neroni. We had so much fun. And I mean, are you of the generation where, so it was on in the 60s, of course,
Right.
the Monkees.
Yes.
But then MTV picked it up and it was reruns that were airing on
Yeah.
MTV. Did you watch them?
Yeah. Hey, we're the monkeys. People say we're monkey around.
Who's your favorite? Who are you?
I wouldn't
You're
be
a
able to
Torque
tell
guy?
you their. I wouldn't be able to tell you their names. I just know of lunch boxes and
Do you know any of their names?
no, couldn't tell you a name of a
Shut
monkey.
up. Not one?
Not one. The
Think
monkeys.
hard.
Okay. Eddie.
The one, the heartthrob.
Okay, no,
Do you know him?
of the monkeys.
He was on the Brady Bunch one time.
No, I couldn't tell you. What? Why are you upset with me?
Because that one I thought was like, because then I'm confronted with my mortality. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm old. I thought this was like everyone knew this one monkey.
If you said their name, I'd be like, oh, okay.
Davy Jones?
Oh, I know who that is. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
He was the heartthrob.
But
He was
see,
like 5'4".
I would have confused him with. We would have had a mix-up from like Pirates of the Caribbean, Davy Jones' locker situation. I would have
Right.
gone in a. I would have said.
Okay.
I don't know. I
Got
wouldn't
it.
have been able to pull that one out. That's filed. That name is filed under something else in my brain. So.
Well, Davy Jones was the heartthrob. He, R.I.P. Davy Jones. And then we had Peter Tork. He was the goofy blonde one. And then there was Mike Nesmith, who wore that blue cap, like winter cap. And his mom invented whiteout in real life.
Oh, I remember this.
I knew that would ring a bell.
I know
So
that
you just love a
fact.
fun fact.
I love a fun fact, and I knew that there was a band where the person's mom was
God.
more famous than he was for inventing whiteout, and she was a secretary, and she invented. I knew that story, but I couldn't tell you the band. This is such a fun
Now you know.
connecting the dots. Connect the dots. La 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 la.
Yes, Mike Nesmith is that guy. And then I went to see, he's the last surviving member of the Monkees.
Wow,
Mickey Dolenz.
I was gonna say they gotta be.
He's 80 years old, cute as a button. And shout out to his rhythm guitar player, Vance, who is now listening to Brain Candy.
Oh, hey Vance.
Hey,
So, if nothing, we've got your physician's assistant, your
we have two
dermatologist,
listeners.
and the only
We-
surviving member of the Monkees. So
Give
that's
it time.
that ain't
no,
nothing.
his rhythm guitarist.
Oh, it's rhythm guitarist. Oh, okay. Got it.
Okay, anyway, it was great. I had a great time. So fun. Oh, wait, here's the funniest part.
Okay.
Okay, so as you know, there's always this thing with me when I'm at a concert where I'm like, I want to dance.
Yeah.
But certain concerts
right.
it's okay, certain concerts it's not. This was at a city winery, so it's an intimate dinner like venue where you're at a table, people are eating. Like you're probably not going to stand up and sing. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. So we go through the whole show, and I'm like seat dancing
Yeah.
into it, but
Some of
in
my favorite
seat.
kind. Yeah.
And Matt and I had looked up the set list, and so we knew what songs were coming, and we knew, of course, that the end song is going to be I'm a Believer.
Yeah.
That's the sort of grand finale. So he starts saying, thank you so much, Pittsburgh. Well, we had a great time. And it goes into I'm a Believer. And Matt and I immediately stand right the fuck up because it's the final song.
Right.
What? You can handle it for 3 minutes. Shut the fuck up. And other people stand with us, but like not everybody.
Yeah.
So then the next day, fast forward, I'm at the grocery store. And this woman comes up to me.
No.
And she was like, were you at the Mickey Dolenz concert last night? And I was like, oh, fuck. I said, yeah. And she's like, I was at the table next to you. And I thought, I am dead in the water. She's going to tell me I blocked her view or whatever. She goes, I just want to thank you. For dancing.
Oh my God, good. Oh, thank God. I'm so glad the story went in this direction.
Me too. I was shitting.
It could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Because it has gone either way before. The other way.
Scolded for dancing.
Right.
And I have now been
The
applauded.
lady, what was it? The Eagles, who was like,
Yes.
don't dance, sit down.
like
they
30
instructed
seconds.
you to sit down. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. This lady said, thank you so much. She said, I wanted to dance the whole time. And I didn't.
See?
And I said, you know what? We need different sections. We need a section for dancers
Well, they do.
and sitters.
They feel like they have that. It's like the mosh pit.
I know. But like at every concert, there needs to be sections because I don't want to block anybody's view either. I don't want to be an asshole, but I do want to dance sometimes.
I'm sorry, but that you cannot go to a concert and be mad that the people around you are dancing and you can't see because they're dancing. That is the thing to stand up at a
Well, this was at like a restaurant. I mean, City Winery is very.
I know, I get it, but like.
I think I did it just right. I
goes-
waited till the
You
final.
did perfect. Well, clearly,
song.
because you got to thank you.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, thank you for saying that because I thought you were going to scold me. And she goes, oh no, I don't scold people when they're having fun.
Oh, we strive to be this woman.
And I was fucking having fun.
That is amazing.
I'll tell you when else I'm having fun, and that's when I'm crawling right into my bed because of Cozy Earth.
Those sheets feel so good. And summer is here, which means I am going to get hot and sweaty at night. And thank goodness I have Cozy Earth because their sheets help keep me cool, like actual degrees cooler than regular sheets.
They are amazing. They are super soft, even after you wash them. In fact, more so. And they are real high quality. So they get better over time.
Yes.
No fading or weirdness. And
No
like
weirdness.
Sarah said, keep you cool. We feel like luxury shouldn't be out of reach. So use code BRAINCANDY for 40% off the best-selling sheets, pajamas, and more. Trust us, you won't regret it. They have everything, though. I just bought a bunch of towels, and then I bought a new set of sheets. Because you know how we were talking about my self-tanner?
Yes.
Well, I use it every day, but if I'm going to use it in the nighttime, I cannot have white sheets.
You cannot have white sheets.
I had to
have
get the
learned
gray.
this. Yep. This is smart.
Because there's a price to pay
There is.
for my fake tan. Okay, anyway, check that out. Get a deal. Okay. Let me ask your opinion about this.
Yeah.
I'm very heavy in two topics, things on New York Times and snakes. This is a New York Times one, so.
Didn't think you were going to go in that direction, but okay, here we are.
Not on purpose, it just happened. Okay, so this was an article in the New York Times about how nursing homes and senior living facilities are trying to train their employees to stop using what they refer to as Elderspeak, which is like when, like, you as like the nurse or nurse's aide are talking to.
It's like baby talk for old people.
Baby talk for old people.
It's like, all right, it's time for you to take your meds.
Yeah,
all right.
It's
It's infantilizing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with this because I think the idea here. Okay, I know you're talking about this story. but
No. Go ahead.
every time we watch a documentary, like when we watch The Janes, and then there was something else that we watched where I was just like, oh my God, all of these people who are older now are so fucking badass.
Yeah, they're
And,
so cool
like,
still.
if you, the idea that some of the people in these nursing homes, like, did amazing things, like, you know, ran underground abortion clinics, even though people were going to jail for that, and led to like so many women being healthy and not suffering. And then we're gonna talk to them like they're 2 years old as soon as they become elderly. That
Yeah.
feels crazy. And like the idea that some of them are you know, World War II veterans who flew like they're like fighter jets and did amazing things, and now we're like, here, have your applesauce. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Don't ever talk to me like that.
Right. But I agree with you, of course, and I don't want to be spoken to like that. But the reason that it happens is because something weird happens to human beings as we age. That is like
But what is
stuff
that?
happen. Well, cognitive decline for starters.
Yeah,
I mean, they
but
can't do that shit now. All that stuff you're talking about.
Do you think somebody older recognizes this elderly speak?
Yeah, because that's what the article was pointing out.
Okay.
That once they train the employees here are the things they don't want you to do. They don't want you to be doing that thing where you're like, okay, honey biscuit, like you're so cute. It's like cutesy language.
Yeah.
Then you have like the plural pronouns where you say, are we ready for our bath? That.
Yes.
And then.
Because it takes away autonomy when you do that.
Totally.
What that language is really important. Are we? I'd be like, fuck all the way off.
we're
You're not
not.
getting in the bath with me.
You getting
I
it?
don't know. Yeah.
Right. And then this thing called, I think they called it tag questions or something, where you'll say like, it's time for your bath now, right? Where it's a question, but it's not.
Yeah, I totally get this.
It's just a statement that you're pretending you're giving them agency when you aren't. But anyway,
We're going to have your dinner now, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's time to put on your sweater now, isn't it?
Yeah. And she's got to put that sweater on no matter what. So why are you asking it when it's really just a statement? And so they were saying that once they train these people to stop with this stuff, that the rates of elderspeak go down, and then the rates of, they call it, there's a name for it where they don't participate or agree to stuff. So it's like,
like they're how much they're putting up a
like
fight.
resistance care?
Yes.
They're resisting, like, because I fucking hate your
Because
guts.
they have no autonomy. Because so it's the same way. This is exactly the same as why a toddler throws a temper tantrum as they're coming into learning who they are, and they always go, no, 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 no. And it will help to give them options and choices and make them believe that they have it's the idea that somebody else is making else is making the decision for them that's going to make you naturally push back and rebel against it.
So evidently, like, the more that you do this elderspeak, the more the patients resist,
Of course.
and make your life worse and make their life worse. And the lower the risk is of using antipsychotic drugs. So, like, they aren't being prescribed as many of those antipsychotics.
Yeah.
When we stop talking to them like they're fucking two.
Wow, that's very important. That says something, right? If we kind of look at what that means, what that says, it says something about how we are perceived by others impacts our own behavior. and our mental health.
Yeah. I think about this a lot with racism, too.
Oh, uh-huh.
Because it is very much like a chicken and the egg scenario where populations who feel they have no agency and no power often will start acting like nothing matters. But then that is used to
Right.
reinforce the idea that they're animals.
It's terrible.
It's also what happens in reality TV scenarios. When you have no agency or power, which is how it is in those houses, and you start acting like an animal, which we do, people start fist fighting.
You start, going to the like least common denominator in a way.
And then that bad behavior is used to then justify less autonomy, less agency, and it becomes this cycle of you start acting like garbage. People treat you like garbage, but the reason that you acted like garbage in the first place is because they treated you, you know?
Right.
Chicken and egg.
Yeah.
But I guess what I was saying earlier about the Elderspeak thing is the reason why that happens is because there is some legitimate anatomical, biological stuff that happens as we age that makes us more dependent upon others. We are more frail. We have less, there's more frailty also in the mental executions and abilities that make you more reliant on younger folks.
Right.
And then they kind of see you as like a bubbies.
Yeah, it's a respect thing, and that in a way makes me think about the effects of talking to children like that.
I love not doing that.
I love not doing that too.
And they fucking love it. Those kids get it. Like, and if you talk to them like they're an adult, it is hilarious.
Yeah. Like, what's going on with this? What's that?
Totally. They get it. It's hilarious.
Yeah. So it makes me think that we should do that more.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. 10 out of 10.
You will get better behavior from that child, and that this is interesting.
But I mean, sometimes old people do act like kids.
Yeah, but you don't have to use the we language. You can still, even if they do,
you can be like, what are you doing? What's happening?
Or you can be compassionate and understanding without being infantilizing.
Okay. But what if we just treat them regs? What if you treat them like a fully functioning peak person?
I think that this is what's happening. Have you seen, there's a town, I don't know where it is, probably somewhere in like Scandinavia, that area up there, where it's like a town of all people with like Alzheimer's and dementia. And everybody there knows that everybody there has Alzheimer's or dementia, and the conversations are going to be different, but it is a thriving community because of the acceptance of this. And I bet people there don't talk to people like, their kids and like elderly speak. I'm going to look up what town this is.
Do you have a living will?
I feel like I did do one when I had my surgery. Like I feel like I remember doing this for something.
Well, just so I know, like, what do you want?
Oh, we've talked about this.
Yeah, but I can't remember. You want plugs in or what?
No. Cut. No plugs.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah. No.
You can look up the town.
No life saving. No.
No life saving.
No traumatic like I mean, not fucking DNR shit, but like don't.
Right. Yeah, but like don't be stupid.
Don't be like,
I get you.
Attaching me to machines for forever, please.
All right. Well, while Sarah is looking that up, I want to talk about a new partner that we have, which is super cute. It's called Harvest Hosts, and they were inquiring about us, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, this is right up our alley. This is a Sarah-coded partnership, if there ever was.
What is this? What is this?
Harvest Hosts. So, like,
okay.
if you own or rent an RV,
What?
I
Go
know.
on.
you can get a Harvest Host membership, and then you get unlimited, no-fee overnight RV stays at like a gazillion locations around the country and Canada.
This is fantastic.
I mean, is this not right up your alley?
Yes.
Okay, it's $79 for the year, and you can book
Oh my God.
whatevs. And
Because, come on, you're not using that thing as much. Why not have it make money? And why not have it, like, allow you the opportunity to stay places cheap?
yeah, and they have, it's at tons of like cool, like wineries, orchards, like the kind of stops that you're like, oh, that's me.
Yes, I love
Museums,
this.
farms, golf courses, all that jazz. It's such a cute idea.
Well, and also the cost of staying at even like national parks or state parks is so expensive.
Right.
It's like staying at a hotel for a night. I'm like, what the heck is the point in getting an RV or trailer when
Right.
you've got to pay fees that makes it $1 million a night?
Yeah, this is like all the good stuff, none of the bad stuff. You will love it. The host locations are vetted, safe, well reviewed, all that jazz. You can find out like the best places to stay when you're going to a certain area, and based on like your interest, if you're going skydiving or hunting or whatever you're into. Okay, head to harvesthosts.com. Use code BRAINCANDY for 20% off Harvest Hosts membership. Once again, that's harvesthosts.com for 20% off. And make sure you use our promo code BRAINCANDY so they know we sent you. I love it.
Yes.
As a road ruler.
Oh my God, this is so on brand for us. Okay.
Right.
Turns out there are a lot of these villages. They call them dementia villages.
Oh, man.
There is one in the Netherlands, France, Italy, two in Italy, Switzerland, Belgium, Norway, Germany, Austria, Canada, and Australia. I already said that. India. Look at that.
That's amazing.
So it's designed all after this Dutch, this first one that in the Netherlands. I was right.
But you're right, though.
Hodgeweg in the Netherlands, an innovative residential community designed to provide a safe and stimulating environment for individuals living with dementia, aiming to improve their quality of life and preserve cognitive abilities. These villages often mimic the structures and activities of a typical town or village, with residents living in small homes or apartments and engaging in various activities in a community setting.
And they say that their quality of life is so much better. Because they're not being, often with people with dementia and Alzheimer's, they're constantly there's a combative element. Because, like, if you're the caregiver and you have to repeat the same stuff all the time, which you will.
Easy burnout rates.
Yes, you lose your
frustrated.
marbles.
And then the person with dementia can sense that frustration, but can't really understand why. So is probably going to try, like, oh yeah, this is
antagonistic nightmare. But these villages sort of simulate a functional scenario.
And it starts with empathy and understanding. And I think when you start with that, then it's easier. The frustration is reduced.
Okay, moving on. There was a documentary about the Carter family, aka Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys.
I was like, are we talking president, Beyonce and Jay-Z? Or are we talking the 90s?
Right.
There are a lot of Carters.
I would have preferred Jimmy Carter, but it's Nick Carter,
Beyonce.
Aaron Carter, and then the whole Carter family.
Oof, that's a sad story.
Oof. Yeah, Paramount Plus is where it was. And I was looking forward to watching it because their family is so extreme in its challenges with like mental health, addiction, fame, all that. And they were a family of 5 kids, same as my family.
Oh, wow.
And so at the end of the story, which is easy, it's not a spoiler because everyone already knows, Nick Carter is still alive, of course, the oldest, and then the youngest, Angel, is still alive, and then the three in the middle passed away. So you had Aaron die of, well, drugs, basically.
Yeah.
You had another drug overdose, and I think maybe one was suicide. But all mental health issues. And so the series is 2 episodes, but it's exploring like the fame element.
I didn't know there were so many kids, and that is really sad.
It's so sad. And they had on E, there was a show called like fucking Bringing Up the Carters or something, where all of them were on it. And so I, from a certain age group, we all watched those girls too, even though they weren't like the famous ones.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
And the parents were just totally fucked up and ill-equipped. And
what do you think tell me about that? How, in what way? I mean, it seems crazy to me, not crazy, but it seems counterintuitive or whatever the word is, that the same family that can support 2 children through fame and stardom, and even bring them to that in some way, because the parents had to facilitate that.
You have to be savvy enough to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then
Right.
can't
That's so true, Sarah.
also support.
I had that going for us. Our parents didn't have even that ability.
You know?
You're right, though, because that takes coordination. It takes like, at least dialed in enough to know, like, oh, this is valuable.
Right. So
Yeah.
where that happened over there, and then we failed so much
Yeah,
over
so
here. It's
it was that sort of 80s story of like, it was right around the Star Search era where people started realizing like if you went and did like the little local circuit, you might sort of work your way up and then
this was the Star Search Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting found and put into a boy band
Recruited.
or on yes. Yep.
And they happened to live in Florida, which is where
Disney
Lou
World.
Pearlman,
that was what they were doing there. It was a factory for that.
Yeah. And Lou Pearlman, which we've seen that documentary.
Oh God, he's so creepy.
And that whole like scene of developing boy bands and these manufactured groups.
Yes.
Anyway, so that's Nick's sort of the most famous, but then he created the template, and then they had this basically other son who was sort of a clone of Nick, looked identical, also talented and can learn dance moves and stuff.
And had the opportunity to take what maybe Nick Carter got in the boy band and do it without being tied to other members or tied to another band. Like they can, now there's only one of you. We can make this career what we want and do it our way. I'm sure there was that.
And then the mom's the talent manager.
Yep.
The dad is the business manager.
Of course.
They're just like robbing him blind. By the time he had access to his money, he owed the government $2 million.
Oh,
they didn't pay taxes.
My God. That should be illegal. Oh my God. That gives me anxiety. Susie, ooh.
I mean, it's just trashy, gross people.
God, there should be laws that like if you make over a certain amount under the age of somebody
else ought to handle it.
You have to then have a financial advisor, because the idea that oh my God. Like, I get it, because you're responsible.
And they think they deserve it. They're messy.
Right. They think
this is my kid, and I'm why they're successful. I deserve this.
I can hear the argument. That's why I stopped because I'm like, I hear it. I hear I made him that way. How do you think he got that? I could hear the argument. But what do you do?
It's so sad.
What do you do when this is the something that happens? This is financial exploitation.
Totally. And
I'm panicking for them.
the Aaron Carter, the younger son,
Yeah.
he was a twin of
What?
a girl, of a sister. And the sister is still living. She's the youngest.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
God. That's so sad.
It's so sad.
Her twin, and then oh, God.
It's just the whole story is so tragic, and it's mainly a story. It sounds unrelatable because they were famous and rich and they're in these bands and they dance and sing, but it's so relatable because all it is anybody that's experienced having parents who are ill-equipped for the job.
Yeah.
And who then maybe even meant well or just had circumstances that were beyond their ability to maneuver, then you are going to pay a price because of them.
Man, she's so cute.
She's so cute. And she seems so level-headed
Angel.
and nice.
Yeah, she's really beautiful.
And they touched in the documentary series about how Nick and Angel were the only ones who got therapy. And they're the only ones that are alive.
Okay.
And they sort of were tying it to like becoming aware that your parents' sins are not who you are.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
you aren't defined by,
What's Nick Carter doing now?
just touring with Backstreet.
Okay. But like,
And-
does he seem happy?
Yeah, he seems like he has a nice
happy
wife
enough?
and kids
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
but,
like that. Like, does he have a nice? Is he okay in his life?
Yeah, but like there's accusations about him separately. I watched a documentary separate
What
about
kind of accusations?
non-consensual.
Oh God. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
And it's like,
It's all bad.
I'm inclined
It's
to
all
believe
bad.
them.
Of course I am. Of course.
And it's
course.
this feeling of like both can be true. That
Right.
he got a bad deal and he's been set up for failure and he's probably messed up, but that he
Yeah.
probably did things that aren't great.
Yeah. Probably. I mean, you grew up in that, and you're probably. Oh gosh, it's just cycles of.
And because it's this, like, you're surrounded by yes. The answer is always yes.
Right.
It's like,
You don't know boundaries.
yeah, you haven't learned.
Reasons,
About-
not excuses.
Yeah,
But
it actually makes more sense.
it's very understandable. It's oh God. Okay.
So that was traumatizing, but also interesting,
Yeah.
and I would recommend it. Okay.
Are there any child star stories that are okay?
Well, the docuseries was actually produced by or directed by Soleil Moon Frye, Punky Brewster.
Yeah, I sure do. Love
and
her.
she had done that other child star documentary
Yes.
that was really good. I think there are some who have amazing foundations that can weather that storm and handle it.
Yeah.
But if you even have any dysfunction or latent or dormant mental health issues,
Oh my God. This is
child stardom isn't going to help.
No, that is.
When you talk about Sarah,
I know you're gonna say
brings
yeah.
up this very important concept that no human brain is equipped to handle that much feedback about who they are, right? Criticism
Yeah.
from whoever. Did you think I was going to say something else?
Well, I did, but But
What?
this is a good one. I thought you were gonna say. Well, say your thing.
Okay, well, just that the feedback that you get from social media, especially if you're a famous person, like all this noise of like why you suck,
Yeah. Yeah.
is totally unnatural to absorb that.
Totally.
And it's not functional to hear other people saying all this terrible stuff about you. But what did you think I was going to say?
Well, and it makes it puts a vulnerable brain in a very vulnerable position. And I think of it as that metaphor that I use about like mental illness and whether or not something will present itself is like a light bulb turning on, how you have to have the circuitry, the light switch has to be turned on, there has to be a light in the socket, there has to be somebody who physically flips the switch, that putting kids in that environment where you're exposed to the feedback of so many more than what we are equipped to handle is like adding the wiring and the circuitry, or at the very least flipping the switch. So you just fucking hope that there isn't a light bulb in the light socket so nothing goes on, you know?
Right. But if there
is,
put a light
you're
bulb
going to
there.
get schizophrenia. You're going to get, you know, like mania. You're going to get something.
Yeah,
because
by the end of his life, that's what Aaron was diagnosed with: schizophrenia,
Yep.
bipolar.
Yes.
He was paranoid. Whatever, all the things you can have.
Yeah.
It was almost as if he didn't stand a chance.
Right. It's really sad. Yeah, it reads just like the Jake Lloyd story from like so many, and Amanda Bynes, and so many from that era that just did not make it out.
I was telling my family what you said about how, because Lincoln couldn't believe that you babysat him. He's like a Star Wars like aficionado.
Yeah.
And he loves those ones. And I was like, Sarah used to babysit him. You couldn't believe it. And then we were talking about how he's succumbed to some mental health stuff. And I said what you said, how probably what made them so great and talented and perfect for their own sitcom or a movie role.
Yeah.
Like carrying the lead of one of the biggest franchises in the world. That whatever it was that dialed them in to humanity enough to do that at that age is probably the same thing that led to their
bingo
downfall.
Yes, there is. That is it. There is an actor. Let me see. He's in We Are the Millers. He's a British guy, younger. Let me see. Cast. What's his name? His name is Will Poulter. He struggles with his own mental health issues, and he said actors might be the very worst people to achieve fame, like the last people that you'd want to achieve fame and success.
Because they're sensitive.
They're sensitive.
Yeah.
And most of them are now getting rewarded for being characters, being not who they actually are. And that allows some things to maybe go unchecked, or it makes it hard to then form your own identity. And like, who am I in this? You have to have a really strong sense of self and understanding of who you are. And I think that is a tall order to ask of a child.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot.
It's a freaking crapshoot. It really is. And man, have we seen a lot of kids who are so talented. I think Drew Barrymore is one of them where you think, oh, wow, she's like a child star that made it. But you think about what she had to go through, the journey in order to get there and come out the other side.
Let's face it, that gal's not normal.
Right.
She's a doll baby, but she's cuckoo crazy.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
That's funny.
Next up, let's talk about a snake story.
Okay.
It's like a good news, bad news.
Oh.
Good news is this guy is so cuckoo crazy that we may end up with a universal anti-venom.
What? Oh, no. He
of
let
his
himself get stung a million
behavior.
times.
Yes.
Or not stung, bit.
Yeah.
Oh my God, these are the guys that you and I have been rolling our eyes at and have been talking shit on for so many years. We could do like a compilation video of the amount of shit we've talked on guys who like make themselves, put their arm out there so that they bite. And we go, what is that for? Who's that helping?
Okay.
Tell me why it's helping.
This fucking idiot, for 18 years, he's been injecting himself with calibrated and escalating doses of venom. So he's shooting him into himself on his own. And then he's also endured over 200 snake bites because he wants to build immunity to 16 deadly snake species. So this was his intention.
But if it's working.
It's working.
I gotta say,
thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service, I guess. This feels like how we're going. This is like practically the plot line to The Last of Us, you know? Like this is how we fight the zombie apocalypse. So
yeah.
This is interesting.
For real, experts say this is the first step to getting a universal anti-venom. And they describe him now as hyperimmune human adult male donor that he did from 2001 till 2018.
Wow.
And the 2 antibodies found in his blood were found to protect mice from the venom of 19 deadly snakes.
Okay, you know what? I'm fine with it now. Okay. I just need to know why.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be judgy and weird if you give me a real good reason. But if it's just to make YouTube videos, then you can go fuck all the way off with that. But there's a method
to the madness.
There's a method. I'm for it all of a sudden. And I like the idea that it's like this guy is this is funny. That this guy is like sticking his arm out there and injecting himself with all of this poison, and this to protect a mouse. Like I do get that this then has human application, but then for the line to be the mouse was protected from 19 bites of 19 different species of snake, and that's like, I risked my life for this little mouse.
Yeah, man, he did. And really it worked like a charm. And it's probably going to pay off for the rest of us.
I think that, okay, so then this really is like the plot line to The Last of Us zombie story, you know?
Yeah.
Where somebody gets bit, a woman gets bit when she is just had a baby, but didn't cut the umbilical cord yet. So the baby gets not like an actual bite into the bloodstream, but just a little bit filtered through like mom's placenta or whatever.
To then be immune.
And then is immune to all of the vampire bites. And then they're going to like take her blood and create a vaccine. And it's like the antivirus is
that's awesome.
It is. And so this feels like, I love when they make stories based on real shit. And that this is like, I love that.
I do wonder, like, I would like to speak to him and find out why he wanted to do it. What was his motivation?
Yeah, because this seems very methodical. Like, it's not like this guy was just some like, all right, I'm an Australian guy who's going to go stick my arm out there and get bitten. It's a terrible Australian accent, but...
Yeah, like he had like a actual intention.
Yeah.
Seems like.
Yeah. And that was not a dig at Steve Irwin. That was just because the most deadly snakes live in Australia. So why wouldn't you be there?
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know, just saying.
Say no more.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure you're familiar.
I mean, was he from Australia? Now I have to know.
That's a good question.
There's no way he's not Australian.
He's from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin? How many fucking deadly snakes are in Wisconsin?
That is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. He saw a snake in his whole life. And okay, well,
it says, as an adult, his obsession turned to venomous snakes and the harm they cause people globally. He felt the most dramatic way to raise awareness of the issue was to allow himself to be bitten right out of the gate, though. He was put into an ICU after 2 cobra bites and dropped into a coma for 4 days. But he didn't quit. Our Wisconsin weirdo.
I wonder if this started as like, here's the plan, or he's like, I just
Right.
got to raise
He's a
awareness,
fucking
and I was
idiot.
like, well, shit, and now I'm a little, and then they told him, he like woke up from those 2 cobra bites, and they're like, just so you know, you're gonna be more immune, and he's like, well, fuck, that works.
That's it.
That's it. Right? Yeah, go with that. Yes,
That's why I did it. That's why I did it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Okay. I know you've seen this photo, but you may have to look it up just to refresh your memory.
Okay.
Napalm Girl. Is that ring a bell?
It's in the mask.
Vietnamese. No, she's running naked. In Vietnam, she has been hit with a biochemical weapon.
No, I don't.
Turned out it was friendly fire, but it was during the Vietnam War. If you search Napalm Girl, you'll find her. It's a very, very famous Pulitzer Prize-winning image.
Yeah. Oh, that's sad. Yeah.
Do you remember that image, or maybe
I
you didn't
don't
see it?
remember this
Oh,
image.
are you serious?
Yeah.
Man, I swear our age gap is like just something specific about it.
Yeah.
Where to me that
that's
is
so
a
sad.
ubiquitous image, something that I've seen a gazillion times because it's reprinted so frequently. But anyway, if you haven't seen it, Google Napalm Girl. But the actual image is called The Terror of War, but nobody calls it that. But this was in the Vietnam War, and it was actually friendly fire. The Vietnamese and U.S. forces had dropped a chemical that then was burning her skin. So she's, what do you say, 9 maybe?
Yes. Looks
Something
like a little
about that.
girl. Yeah.
She's running towards the camera, screaming in agony. She's totally naked, and there are a couple other kids in the image, I think. 2 or 1?
Yeah, a couple, like 2 or 3.
Couple other kids, and they are suffering too, but she's sort of the center and focal point. Okay, so anyway, the image won a Pulitzer Prize, and it became very famous also because, whether it's true or not, it became this lore that the Vietnam War was seen as the first televised war.
Yeah.
So, like, this was the first time, really, that you could go home and watch the 6 o'clock news, Walter Cronkite or whoever the fuck, and they were showing images of what our boys were doing in Vietnam and how fucked up it was and how the government is not always telling you the truth.
Yeah, yeah.
That it was the first time Americans were confronted with the fact that, like, oh, they are fucking lying sometimes. And that the war is not going well. And we're sending over our 18-year-old little boys to die for no reason. Anyway, so this image became symbolic of that and was seen as like one of the things that turned public opinion to against the war, so then ending the war. It's probably not true that that had that much effect, but, well, just for argument's sake. Okay. So then it was reproduced in television and also newspapers a gazillion times and books, and is often used as an image of war that's been so consequential. Mm-hmm. The girl in the photo ended up defecting to Canada at some point and has spoken about being a symbol of the war. She wrote like a New York Times op-ed like 10 years ago or something, where she acknowledged the importance of the image, but that she didn't consent to the photograph. She's naked in it.
Oh, yeah. That's a very good point. And it's
like under most social media standards, that would normally be a photograph that gets flagged and taken down. Yeah. But because by that point, historically, it had already gotten importance, it's not seen as something that is pornographic, and so is usually not taken down. So what I want to know is, what are your thoughts on this? Is there like a cost-benefit analysis where it's like part of what people say is that the horror of that image is ended the war, maybe saved lives.
Yeah.
Is there like a cost-benefit ratio that would be okay for disseminating the image of a young nude girl in terror?
Oh God.
And that's what it is. There's no other way to put it.
There's no other way to put it.
Like she is in a absolute survival state of hell.
I mean, the image is so powerful, but just because we have to think of the person whose image is being used. And
so you feel like one person is more important than like, it's the trolley, car dilemma.
I can see that at first glance it might seem like that, but the trolley car dilemma gives only two options of like, these people are going to die or this person is going to die. I think that there's another option where you can find another image that will convey that message that doesn't require the exploitation of a child. That's saying that there is no other image that we possibly could have, that no other photojournalist that was ever there captured anything else that would have been equally as moving. And that I just don't believe.
Okay. I think a lot of people would agree with you about that.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to say the opposite, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the image so many times.
Yeah.
And it's such an, like, kind of like the JFK home video when he's getting shot to death.
Right.
Like, it's so used.
Right.
That I've never seen this image as sexualized.
Right. And I don't think that is what's going to happen. I don't think that is that it. I think that it is an image that has to be consumed or viewed with a certain amount of like education and understanding and like information that
I guess too though, Sarah, I feel like I know there are people that are sick and they can sexualize anything. Right? But I just feel like those people are so few.
Yeah.
That almost everybody, like 99.99% of people that would view that image would only see the horror, that to then be like, oh, we can't because it's sexualizing. It feels like...
I don't think we can't because it's sexualizing. Sorry.
Okay, we can't because why?
Because it's not our body to show.
You mean because she's nude?
Because I think that
like if she were wearing clothes, then you would think it would be a fine image to use. So it is about sexualizing them because that's what nudity is. Because
I mean that you don't see the other people, the other young men and the other kids in there saying, I don't like that this image is being used. It's because she's nude and it's in such a vulnerable position.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that that's the issue. But like, I just don't think the bad outweighs the good, because it really does change minds when you see that kind of horror. You do see the whole thing in a different light that you wouldn't if you're just like protecting this one girl from like, and what, like, and nobody's looking at your poon.
Right. No, and I totally get that. I just feel like there could have been another way to do it that didn't. Is there another option? It is so. Maybe. I totally get it. But it's
I get it too. That's why it's a debate. It's because it's like, there's no right answer.
There's no right answer to that. I mean, and you
know what? The other thing is, she has credited this photographer with saving her life. Yeah. Like he is who got her care, and why she didn't die from the chemicals, and she acknowledges that. She's like, that photographer saved my life. Also, why did he take that photo? And I'm telling you, lady,
it's also the job of the a wartime photographer to capture what you see. And if that is what you see, if you saw a mass grave, because you know what? When there are Holocaust photos of all of them standing there with stripped of their clothes, it makes me want to cry. It is horror. It is,
And that's why
in
I've
a way
said,
you have to show that in order to not strip history of the
yeah, you can't
horrors
sanitize
of
it.
you can't sanitize history. You have but it has
That's
to be
why I don't
consumed in a healthy and like okay way. I don't know.
That's why I want mass shootings at schools like Columbine. I want to see the carnage because I think people are
protecting
not
people
getting
from-
that our 6-year-olds are being gunned down.
Oh my God. It's
And
so
that's
sad.
horrifying and so upsetting.
Yeah.
And that's why it ought to be shown.
Yeah, and because you pair that with with what we do see, where if kids play some like Call of Duty game and nobody is bloody and then they just disappear from the screen and come back to life 2 seconds later, I think
Right.
it gives us a really, and we don't see how our food dies. We don't see how, oh, you like that cow that you're eating? You like that hamburger? You know how that thing was killed? Like we are disconnected from death in a way that makes it so we maybe don't value life in the same way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get the debate though. I do.
I totally do. God, this is a sickening, like,
The fact that we have to talk about it.
but we do in
Yeah.
a way. Like it's important and it matters. Interesting.
All right. I guess I'll go. I've already
Because
said
we wouldn't
too
want
much.
books to delete, and like when they say, oh, we're going to take this part out of history, we're not going to talk about this massacre or this
Right. It's like
whatever.
I wish it weren't a thing.
I don't want to sanitize it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see.
Thanks for walking me through that.
Yeah. Damn.
I have so much more.
There's no win. There's no winning.
Next time I'll have to continue, but
Yeah. Good episode. Interesting stuff.
you know what we talked about, whatever, you get it. Check out our patreon.com/brain candy if you want any reality TV interviews or challenge content. And then go to thebraincandypodcast.com.
Yes.
That's where all our sponsor and code information is. And we are working on some cool live events for online
Yep.
that you can join and sign up for too, that are going to be a hoot and holler.
So
do
fun.
that, thebraincandypodcast.com, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, friends.